Hello, I'm Terry Howard, CEO of Springfield Community Center Incorporated, and today I'd like to take the time to tell you the story of Springfield. Formed in 1825, Taliaferro County was formed by Greene, Wilkes, Oglethorpe, Hancock, and Warren County. These plantations in those counties were combined to form Taliaferro. We, the black citizens, were already here. This is a map of the original of what it looked like in 1825 when it was first formed, and it had several districts, militia districts. Now we only have two, 601 and 172, out in Sharon. The area known as Springfield is 70 miles from Augusta, which is home of James Brown. It is about an hour drive from Athens, which is the home of the Georgia Bulldogs, University of Georgia. It is about 100 miles, maybe an hour and a half drive to Atlanta, Georgia, Fulton County, DeKalb County, that area. It is 20 miles from Lake Oconee, which is in Greene County. It's a golfing community. And it's next door to Durham Town, which is a dirt bike riding trail, ATVs and things of that nature. And we are located in the same county as Alexander H. Stevens State Park. So my people were living on the Armstead Atkinson plantation. It was 1,500 acres, and he died in 1832, but his son passed in 1831. So that left his wife Sally and his two adult daughters, which were already married. Because of that, Sally, Sarah T. Atkinson, had to create a new will and a new deed, and that she did. And she listed the name of the enslaved individuals on her plantation, which is how I was able to find my family. As far as I have discovered, Sarah T. Atkinson didn't remarry, and she didn't sell any of her enslaved individuals. So my family was intact. As a matter of fact, we still live in that same area today, which was originally the Armstead Atkinson plantation. Many of the white or Caucasians left the area after emancipation, and only a few of them stayed, which left us here to divide the property, to purchase property, and we were able to also start the church. Reverend D.P. Murden, who was the first pastor of Springfield Baptist Church, he and several of the congregations drove 70 miles one way to Augusta, Georgia, to attend the Augusta Institute. This would later become Morehouse College. D.P. Murden himself didn't graduate, but his grandson, Aaron Bartow Murden, did, along with Victor Turner. So they were able to learn how to read and write, to carry on with the church, and to build other schools and institutions. This is from the First Marriage book. You can see from yourself that there's a Maria Bird. Bird actually was a large plantation also. Bird Chapel became a Methodist chapel. There's Ellington, who I'm part of that family, and there's Henry James. There's a lot of information that you can find in the courthouse, in the Taliaferro County marriage books. They would say black until you get to Marriage Book E. These are the guys who went to Morehouse, well, Augusta Institution. As I said earlier, A.B. Merton graduated, and so did Victor Turner. Victor is my cousin, I'm proud to say. He graduated actually from the Augusta Institute, went on to Atlanta, and from there he went to Wisconsin, earning himself 3 degrees. Victor is going to become a professor at Tuskegee Institute in Alabama, and that's where he will retire. He will marry. He will have 3 sons. Aaron Bartow Merton went on to become pastor in Athens, Georgia. That man, Reverend D.P. Merton, is his grandfather, and that handsome young man at the bottom is my great-great-grandfather, Spencer Turner Jr. We call him Freeman. And above him is his brother Henry. That is the oldest boy and the youngest boy. So Uncle Henry and then Grandpa Freeman. This is Mildred, another cousin. Mildred is never married, but she did raise a daughter we call Peanut. She went on to Spelman College. Once she returned, she became Gene Supervisor of Taliaferro County, and later on she would go to Dorchester Academy. These were the first original board members for the Springfield Log Cabin School. They are Miles Hackney, cousin Joe Turner. Actually, all of them are my cousin. Some by marriage, some by blood. So there's Miles Hackney, Joe, Clark, Spence, we call him. His name is William Spence. There's Casper, George Chapman, and then there's Cumlust, and we don't have a picture of Ed, I'm sorry. Miles Hackney was also the member of the AAA, the architecture under, what was his name, Roosevelt, President Roosevelt, New Deal. This is the person we acquired the 4 acres from. He is Mr. Chapman Jr. Handsome man, I think. He has a large family. His first wife, Anna, had lots of children, and his second wife, Hattie, had lots of children, and I grew up with a lot of the children from his second wife. I shouldn't say I grew up. I was a baby when they were born, but I was a baby when they were adults, or teenagers, so I knew them though. This is an original picture on the right that was at the Georgia Archives of the Springfield School. And then to the left is a picture we found in Casper Evans' belongings. So that I do believe that's him in the front, but that's no way for me to prove that. So this is a picture of this log cabin school. Back in 1965, SCLC, the Southern Christian Leadership Conference, solicited students from the West, California, and different areas, whatever students who wanted to be a part of the voters registration. Some of them, 3 of them came here, Candace Weber, and a girl named Julie Van Allen, and there's a third one that I can't recall, but they came to help in the voter registration. But during that time, there was a firing of one of the school teachers, Calvin Turner. I said one, I'm so sorry. There was a firing of the principal, Evan Harris, and his wife, Ann. Calvin Turner, who was the basketball coach and teacher, and his wife, Florence. And this up for debate about the other 2, whether Mr. Eaton and Miss McRae was actually fired. Some people say they weren't, some say they was. But I put them on here just because I didn't want to leave somebody out if they were, because there's no record saying who lost their contract. But because of that, the students began to boycott. During the boycott, they used the log cabin school as a freedom school. That picture, by the way, you just saw was a creation by one of the students at the UGA. The bus boycott began. In the front there, you'll see that's Calvin Turner and Calvin Turner and Willie Bolden. Next to Willie Bolden is Mr. Goodney Terra. I think his real first name is James, but we've always called him Goodney. So out of this boycott came 2 cases. One was Turner versus Goolsby, a local case, and then there's a federal case, Turner versus Fouch. Like I say, they used this log cabin as the Freedom School. Until it was in the beginning, before it was a Freedom School, they was using it as the voter registration headquarters. That's where Scope was working from. This all happened in the Springfield community. This is my friend Britt K. Wonderful guy. He was one of the photographers, and I learned that there was a photographer before him that went on to the Vietnam War, and he actually ends up dying there as a young man. We was able to acquire those pictures from the Wisconsin Veteran Museum in Madison, Wisconsin. So they have sent us the pictures that he took earlier, which has been a nice addition to our collection. But he was all right. Britt was okay. He came back years later to visit us. This is the case of Turner versus Fouch. Calvin's youngest daughter, Sandra, with a hand raised up at the bottom, was the person who was listed on there as and he ended up winning that federal case. It was very vital to us because it allowed us to now serve on the Board of Education. It allowed us to be on the jury, privileges we didn't have before. So in 1967, 68, somewhere in there, Crawfordville Enterprise is born. It was a brainchild of Calvin Turner and Robert Billingsley. Later on, they're going to ask for help from Randolph T. Blackwell, and they're going to receive several grants. The young man in the corner is Michael Bowman, who is now president of the Springfield Community Center, Incorporated. But that was him at 3 years old when he was attending the daycare center at Crawfordville Enterprise. And I want to say one more thing, too, about Crawfordville Enterprise. It was funded by the money raised from SCLC, Reverend Ambassador Andrew Young. This is, you can't see him clearly, but this is Father Cooney. He's no longer a father anymore, but he was very influential in helping us to get the daycare started. And that's Calvin Turner and her beautiful daughters. The nonprofit was formed in 1993, and Calvin Turner was its leader. He selected Michael Bowman as president, who is still president today. It is a 501c3 nonprofit. This is when we had trouble in the community. There was a company that wanted to put 2 silos in the community with ammonia nitrate, some detonators and things like that. And we didn't think it was a good idea. No one had discussed it with us. There was no meetings. And so we decided we would take up actions against it coming here. And the board agreed with us, and they would not change this from agriculture to a business district, so it wasn't allowed. Angela came to help us out in 2019. She's Reverend Angela Harrington Rice from Atlanta. She came and signed her book and donated some of the profit from her book sales to us. It was a wonderful event. We had a bake sale and such. In 2019, Places in Paris, Georgia Trust nominated us for their Places in Paris. And this is me with the women from Wilkes County who also had a school that they're working on. COVID-19 shut us down. We was on the road, raising funds, getting out information, talking to people, visiting, sharing our information. And so we had to change pace for a while because COVID-19 said you can't visit anybody, you can't go anywhere. So we began to write grants. We had a volunteer by the name of Linda Franklin. She was from a captain in the military army, and so she thought it was a good idea to help us out, and so she began to write grants for us. But she's going to pass during the coronavirus, and so again, it slowed us down a little bit, but we did win a very significant $25,000 from the National Trust, and that money was used to write our building assessment. That had turned out to be a great thing with Joe Smith and Reed Sheets. Joe Smith, of course, spearheaded the project, and he contacted Reed Sheets